Hey guys, Thad
And Grayson
here for Iowa Budget RC, and today we're back with the Jegs Hooligan. Last time we took this out, we did the servo on axle mod to it, and it steers a whole heck of a lot better. But now we need to deal with the handling, and these things are stupid stiff. Grayson, grab the truck, and I'm gonna take the stand out of there, set it down on the bench, and there's little or no give to that. And
like if you
drop it, the only bounce you're getting is from the tires. And so what the plan is today is to try and help improve that.
So first thing we have.
Well, Grayson's gonna pop the body off. So, hey, we didn't get that battery out of there and charged. At least you unplugged it. So now this thing does not have a switch on it because the switch took a dump and I didn't have one to put on it. And so I just direct wired it. So now it's plugging or unplugging the battery, turns it on and off. It's not a bad thing. It's a very common mod to do. But anyway, so one of the things that we're going to do is we are going to put these, I believe these are 10 millimeter wide hex extensions that are brass. That'll not only add a little bit of weight, but it will also add 10 millimeters per side width. And so that will help bring the wheel out a little bit, make it a little more stable. Another thing we're going to do is we are going to work on these shocks. So one of these shocks is going to be removed of its oil but retain the spring. The other one is going to lose its spring but retain its oil. And that alone will give this, it'll give it some sag, and it will give it some flexibility in the suspension. These things being so hard, that's why they handle so horribly. So by doing these couple simple mods, we should be able to make this thing handle more like the USA 1 would. And this thing rips. It's a fun truck to drive,
and
but
it does such big wheelies because of how hard the suspension.
Yeah, it'll soften up the suspension on that amount too, but that will it'll still do wheelies. The motor in this thing is just pretty powerful. I think it's a 12-turn motor. Also wanted to note, if this mod does not work, I'm going to switch to these single shocks that are off of my Red Cat Gen 8. They're the crawler shocks. They're nice and soft and they're adjustable, and I think that would do exactly what I want them to also. But this should work. So one will act as a damper, one will be the actual shock. Well, we got a hitch in our giddy up because these extenders that are on this thing are actually the same, about the same width as the ones we've got, maybe even a hair longer. But I may put these on anyway because they're brass and they're gonna add a little bit of weight to it, low unsprung weight.
I think that their brass is actually like about a millimeter shorter.
Yeah, well, I think the weight will help. So anyway, just wanted to show that. Grayson's gonna go ahead and get the rest of the tires off. All right, G-Man, so what are you gonna do?
So now I'm going to take off the shocks. But to do that, there's this weird design and the nuts right here, but we aren't gonna take this off. We're gonna use some angled needle nose, and we're going to put them in there like that. Then we're going to put the screwdriver in there, and then comes out perfectly fine. And then just do that for 4 more times.
And you're only going to do them one at a time, though.
Yeah. It looks like it's a tiny truck now that it doesn't have the tires on it.
Yeah, it looks smaller.
Way smaller. These are some long screws.
Yeah, that goes all the way through, Bubba. Your nut's gone.
Oh.
Put that in your parts bin. Handy parts tray Grayson got us from school.
Yep, my teacher for robotics gave it to us because he was giving them out because we had too many.
They're Lego brand, did you know that?
Uh-huh.
They say Lego on the bottom.
It's because robotics, we do stuff with like Lego stuff. Yeah, we do stuff with Lego stuff.
That should be
Yeah, I know.
about out. Falling off. Pick it up.
Won't let me do it.
Put your screw in your parts bin. Don't lose any washers or anything.
Washer. Scary.
Okay, so now that we've got the shocks dismounted, what are you going to be doing?
Take it off.
What? Take what off?
The shock. Off of here.
One of them you don't have to take completely off.
This one? Or this
You tell me.
This one you don't have to take completely off because all you gotta do is just work like this. And so yeah.
All you're doing to that shock is taking the spring off of it. No. This has got a slot in it. Just like your Traxxas. See that? See that slot right there? Pull up on your spring. Push that off through that slot. Just on the rod. Get it on the rod.
Oh.
You're not going to push it off the knuckle. Now you can pull the spring off.
Much easier to move.
Yeah, so that's going to be your damper. And then the other one we're going to take off. So you're going to have to take that one off. And we're going to take the oil out of it and then put it back on. And then we're just going to lather, rinse, and repeat. So I've got to find something to put the oil into. So I'm going to stop the camera here. Turn it. All right, we're gootin' tight. Is that better on that side compared to the other?
I'm not even pressing down. Like, I can hold on to right here. It balanced.
And it's dropping a little bit. So
And that's without like the battery and stuff.
that's going to help extremely in the way this thing handles. And if we have to, we'll put some thicker shock oil in the shock. But for now, we're going to try this. So Grayson's going to go ahead and do the rest of them, and
It's gonna take a long
then we
time.
will bring you back. All right, guys, got one side done. Grayson did this one. I did this one, but I actually went back through because it wasn't dampening enough, and so what I did was I got all the air out of the shock here, or out of the damper. And so what I did was I took the oil that was in this shock and this shock, put it into these shocks here, and then made sure to get all the air out of it. And now they spring back like they're supposed to, but it is so much softer than the other side. And so that should make such a difference. And the rear's a little bit harder, but I think they got thicker springs on them too. So anyway, the next step will be doing the other side, and then I decided I am going to use these, even though they're just a shade, probably a millimeter more narrow than these, just to add that extra weight of the brass in the front end. At some point I may get some of the crawler ones that are wider and have the nut that goes down into it, like what I put on my Gen 8, but for now these will work, just to get some of that low unsprung weight. So anyway, it's coming right along. Gonna do the other side, and if I have any issues I will bring you back. If your shocks don't do this when you fill them with oil, then you've got air bubbles. They should always bounce back. So as you're filling them with oil, you need to cycle them very slowly to make sure you get that oil out of there. And sometimes it even helps to put your finger on top to let it suck some of that oil underneath the piston, because there should be equal parts oil on top and bottom. And as I'm cycling this more, it's actually getting slightly stiffer and doing what shocks are supposed to do. All right guys, so before I put the wheels back on, I just wanted to show you how much more springy that is, and that's going to be so much better. One thing I did do was the shocks were mounted on the inside one there. Excuse my big fat thumb, but the shocks were mounted on the inside hole originally. I moved them to the outside, gave them a little more angle to just kind of help lower it down just a touch. Did put the brass adapters on there, and on the, here, where is it at? On the front one, in order to move it to the outside, I didn't have any washers where I would have had to make a stack of washers. So I just screwed a nut all the way on there and used that for my spacer, and I put that in actually backwards because it's supposed to go in from the front side, but I couldn't get it on without popping the steering knuckle off of there. Didn't feel like doing that. So anyway, without tires, it's got a hit and drop, and so that's going to make a big difference. Before, it was, even without doing this, it wouldn't drop. It was just a solid hit. So you'll be able to see it better when it's got tires on it. So that's the next step. Get it ready to go. All right, so it's still a little bit hard to tell, but it's much, much better than what it was. And when you push down on it, it's got some sag to it, but pops back up. This should handle better. It's definitely a little bit heavier with having the brass on all four corners. All right, guys, we got snow. Unfortunately, a lot of it's melted actually. There's Grayson sneaking under the camera. And we've got the Jegs truck here with the shock mods, and we're gonna take it out and see how it does.
This morning,
It's not turning left as much.
in this morning, we had like 4 inches of snow.
Yeah, we did. Grayson, turn the dual rate up on that. You can drive it. Go ahead. Go ahead. I know we're on snow now versus pavement, but that it seems a whole heck of a lot better. Just softening up the suspension that much. As you can see in the storm, we lost a branch there off of our already dead tree.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
I didn't even try and do a backflip either.
Give her a rip, boy. That ain't gonna crawl that way. Come up from this side because we got a nice snow ramp going up the rocks. Come at it hard and fast from this angle. Not like that, ding-a-ling.
I know, the snow is making me sick. I have a better idea.
All right, Grayson's got a better idea. Bury it in the snow, that's a better idea.
I did not try and do that. The snow makes me move all over the place.
It is definitely, I mean, it's still flipping, but it's a monster truck. But it is definitely more stable than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready, I'm watching you. Crash. Remember, that's how we broke USA 1.
Yeah, well, this doesn't have as much power as USA 1.
True, it's only on 2S right now. Use our ramps out there in the yard, our wedge ramps.
Yeah, I got a good one. I did not try and do that.
Do it. See if it'll do it on the tree. It probably won't on the tree today because snow's slowing you down.
Whoa!
Do that again.
Here, I can do it on this one. I know that. If I don't put it.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna burn through this battery pack.
Oh my gosh, I hate the snow. This snow sucks.
But anyway, thanks for watching. It's a simple, easy, free mod that you can do to your Jegs truck, your CEN truck, and it will help it handle better. So anyway, with that, I'm Thad for Iowa Budget RC. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and check out our merch store, iowabudgetrcbashers.com. Have a great day.